What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of Tuffy Talk, y'all. We are excited as we are finally going to be doing a real and deal breakdown, y'all. A preview of the NC State versus Tennessee football game, y'all, this Saturday in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're so excited again. We're lucky enough to be welcomed here today. We're privileged to have with us today. I know I'm fumbling with words today. Lucky to have with us today Landon and Caleb here from Most Important issues, right? More than most. I got you. So Caleb, Landon, I want to kind of ask you guys real quick here. First and foremost, is that some people immediately are thinking that's a weird name for a Tennessee podcast. So give us a little bit of the story here real quick.
Well, it was kind of bred incidentally. Was not I don't want to say we started as a joke, but we started this. Someone said we should after many a Twitter rants, actually culminating in South Carolina 2016 loss, which was when Tennessee really started to spiral under Butch Jones. That week we had something with a friend where we were talking about, I don't know, college football or football in general in our group text. And he hit us with, guys, there's more important issues to talk about than football. Like politics and crime rate and the economy. And that made us all laugh and was absurd. And so we decided to start a podcast about the more important issues in life, which is Tennessee football in our opinion, which didn't exactly start as a Tennessee podcast, but we are diehard Tennessee fans, go to every home football game that we can, every away. We usually go to one or two away games a year, make it to many as basketball games, and Landon's really in on the baseball. Season ticket holder there as well. So it just kind of spiraled into that. And now we've been doing it this will be our 8th year, I believe. Eighth year awesome. In December. So it's gotten out of hand. People need to really shut us up and they haven't yet.
Yeah, you guys have definitely acquired some things in your background. You got a lot of like they call it desk swag, but you've got like some podcast swag going on right there.
Oh yeah.
What the most important follow-up question is, this guy still in your friend group? Because he needs to go to the curb. Like, there is nothing more important than college football and college sports in general.
Absolutely. I wouldn't, not in our friend group. I will still call him a friend.
Good.
Don't see him very often though.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Landon, you're going to talk about the swag you got there. What's like the number one thing that you got in your room?
Number one thing. When I was a year old, I went to the bookstore. My mom worked in the bookstore, and she saw Peyton Manning. And so I got a happy birthday, Landon, from Peyton Manning. So it's not worth anything.
Cool.
That's legit.
Yeah. It's not worth anything because it's happy birthday, Landon, but I guess we could cut that off.
Hey, there's a big market for Landons out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of crazy. Like, imagine what Peyton Manning could have done if he went to NC State. Man, that dude is so cool, though. I love Peyton Manning.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah.
He did kind of curse us for a little bit, but we've got to put that behind us since we won a national championship in baseball. So
there you go. Well, yeah. We'll have
you back on in the spring.
We just got over our own curse too, Landon. So, I mean, we feel you there for sure.
Breaking curses, that's what I like to do.
That's right. Yeah, no, 100%. So Caleb, first and most important question, I think, honestly, of this entire preview, which we need your help on desperately. It took us forever at NC State fans to understand how to say DJ Uiagalelei. And so we desperately need your help. Tell us slowly how to pronounce that quarterback's name.
I hate to tell you, you're talking to the wrong guy. Since he committed to Tennessee, I have just made it a point that he kind of has one of those first names that just makes sense as a first name. I refer to him kind of in the European soccer player aspect where we just know them by one name. I guess South American soccer players too, for that matter. But I just call him Nico. It is certainly, I don't know if you guys have played the new college football game. It is not the way Kirk, I can tell you how not to say it, and it's not the way Kirk Herbstreit says it. No. Not even close.
I tried. I really did try. Is it, one try here. Is it Iamaleava?
You're close.
It's
Ia See, I get messed up at the.
Let's hear it. We're just gonna make a soundbite of that as like a teaser.
Maleva. That's how you say the end. I can't even put it all together.
It's Maliava.
I thought I did the pronunciation guide.
Molotov. I am Molotov.
He's Nico.
I'm going to check the pronunciation chart because I usually do that every year. There was some Santiago Vescovi debate a few years ago, and everyone was saying it wrong, according to the university website, which I hope is reliable.
We have one of those too with Red Hibbler. It just said call him Red. His name's not Red Hibbler, but it just like in the program it says Red.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of jump into here with the first question here, Landon's actually about the game is how much would you guys say that the Chattanooga game really kind of taught you about the team? Like, do you feel like that game, coming out of it, that you feel even better about Tennessee heading into the state game than you were even before the Chattanooga game itself?
Actually, can I piggyback real quick? Does that give you a false sense of security? And
before we get going back into this amazing interview, we want to take a quick second and tell you about Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group that has your whole world covered with agents in 5 different offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their website at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. That's a fair way to say it.
So that's a good point. Tennessee fans have dealt with a lot over the years, so false sense of security, I don't know if that exists. I think coming out of it, I feel better, but like it is what it is. Like he scored 69 points, and like it's hard to score 69 points in a football game, especially now when it's.
Ole Miss scored 76, but whatever.
But there's more TV timeouts than there is actual gameplay.
True story.
So that is tough to do, but I think you see the throws and. Those are NFL top throws, and the defensive line depth is real. Other than that, you probably didn't learn a whole lot about this team, but that's why you play another game.
What about Pierce only playing 10 snaps? Is that worrisome?
He's saving it up for his hometown team.
There you go.
It's fair.
There you go.
That's fair.
For me, it's one of those that I didn't learn really anything new. If anything, there were just some reassurances. Nico can make the throws. Dylan Sampson is more than adequate to be your number one back. Your defensive line is fast and physical. Honestly, looking at it, I feel like I'd rather NC State have just ran Western Carolina out of the building. I feel less sure about my opponent now. I feel like I learned less about them looking at week 1 because they didn't play, in my opinion, their best game last Thursday night. So it's one of those that while you can't put in too much stock into Tennessee thumping UTC, I don't think you can put a ton of stock into NC State struggling for 3.5 quarters against Western Carolina.
Did either of you watch that game by chance? Just out of curiosity.
I got to watch a lot of, I guess the entire first half. And then we record on Thursday night, or we're actually live on the radio on Thursday night. So wasn't able to watch the ending.
Can we ask you just like a highlight of your raw thoughts of the game?
I thought Grayson McCall struggling to throw deep balls surprised me a little bit because he's, in my mind, a good quarterback. But then I think we've kind of briefly talked about this. I guess I don't know a whole lot of him outside of Jamie Chadwell's offense. So I don't know what to think about that. Kevin Concepcion is faster than I remembered him being. Dude is scary over the middle.
We didn't have
want any part of that
night. I don't know if we would have won that game, to be honest with you, the way he was playing. So
statistically, ran the ball better than I thought.
What were you saying, Landon?
If he ever wants to enter the transfer portal, I'm in.
Yeah. I think the NIL is definitely NC State's friend to keep him for sure. But
I'm just going to tell you, back up the Brinks truck. He's going to command top dollar. No arguments from here.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I was curious because we, for us as State fans, we watched that game and we were, at least for me, we were disappointed, honestly, because it's Western
Right.
Carolina. You should have been like the Louisville, whoever they played 62-0, or heck, whoever Tennessee played. So it was, but I don't know. NC State fans, we've seen worlds where I was joking with somebody else, like, it'd be totally like NC State to go into Charlotte next week and win this game by whatever it is. It'd also be very NC State for us to just get obliterated. So I really don't know what to think about our team right now. I think about McCall being like, his record would show you that accuracy is his calling card. And so what we saw the other night, maybe that's not an off night, for him. I thought our offensive line had some things, but man, I thought Tennessee, against Chattanooga just looked really good. Personally, I thought they did.
Yeah.
So can you give us some ideas of like what you would say the strengths are for Tennessee, and then what some of the weaknesses are for Tennessee?
Caleb, you want to go? If you want to,
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I think with the easy one. It's the offense as a whole is obviously Tennessee's bread and butter. It's Josh Heupel. It's how he plays football. He wants to score, and he's built an offense that looks like it has the ability to do that. Certainly did last week. Nico is, in my opinion, already better than Joe Milton was last year. I think in terms of raw talent, he's better than Hendon Hooker in 2022. Now, it's going to be tough to statistically match what he did that year. That's just a tall task for anybody. So definitely to be determined there, but he throws a better ball. Deep ball, throws the ball better outside the hashes. And so then you match that up with some solid returning talent at wide receiver. Getting Brew McCoy back from injury last year, went out in the South Carolina game, I believe, early in the season. He looks like he's even fitter than last year. We've talked about it a lot, how his frame's just different. Maybe added some speed to an already physical wide receiver. Dante Thornton is hopeful to have a better year there. Then you have Squirrel White, who's just fast.
Squirrel?
Another one I think is a nickname turned real name. We had a Pig a couple years ago. That was pretty awesome.
Nice.
And he ran like his name was Pig, so it made sense. But yeah, I think this offense is certainly loaded, and you have an offensive line who's a very veteran offensive line. At least in the first 5. After that, it gets a little more shallow. So staying healthy throughout next week and the rest of the season is the name of the game. But that's going to be Tennessee's obviously biggest highlight outside of the defensive line. When you look at NC State too, and this is kind of where I'm curious with you all, how you all feel about it. I know defense returns a lot, but loses some key guys. I think loses most of those turnovers from last year. Loses, I believe, the leading your tackle for loss leader.
we didn't lose anybody, Keith. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so Peyton Wilson definitely the national defensive player of the year, right? So he was great. Lose him. Most of your secondaries back. You lose lost another linebacker, Jalen Scott, graduation eligibility thing. But our defensive line, we did lose CJ Clark, who transferred to Miami.
We lost a guy to Miami too.
Yeah, Savion Jackson, out of eligibility. He was out, but I would say one of the top 2 or 3 best defensive players on our team right now, Davin Van. He's still there. They've got mentioned Red Hibbler. He's a pass rush specialist, I would say. Trevally Price is another defensive end. But I mean, we did lose some pieces, but what we have there, I think they can build around. I think Tony Gibson's really good at that. We would agree with that. Not to delve too much into it, but for me, what I saw, there was a lot to be desired defensively and offensively for State. So I don't really feel like we learned a lot about State. And the scary part is maybe we did, and we just,
Well, you lose your middle linebacker, the 5th play of the game, and so
Caden Fordham,
Caden Fordham. So what does that do to your defense, right? I mean, you learned what you had in your backup in Parker, but like, who knows, like how that game looks if he intercepts the ball and doesn't get kicked out of the game.
Yeah, he was. He got a targeting call, so he didn't get hurt or anything. So he'll play.
That ejection was
silly.
That's a tough one to watch one of your own players do.
Yeah. But
so let me ask. Let's talk a little bit about Tennessee. So I think that really, honestly, this game is going to come down to the trenches on both sides.
Sure.
How's our offensive line do? Which is a very also too veteran led offensive line, but obviously, even Dave Doran said it today that this is going to be probably the toughest defensive line front we face all season. And then on the opposite side, which is our defensive line, who wasn't really able to do a great job of getting pressures until later in the game. Can they come out early and get to Nico? And especially too, because it seemed like that one of the things that Western Carolina was able to do that they were able to take advantage of us with was a lot of quick passes, and trying to find, open man quickly, get the ball out. But it seemed like watching the Chattanooga game that it seems like it was more of development plays, whether it was a post route or post corner, things like that. So something that takes a little bit of time to develop, but then Nico is able to hit him in stride and then boom, off to the races. And so that to me is kind of the biggest thing, is that if that is going to be the game plan again against NC State, can Davin Van, can Red Hibbler, can Javali Price get pressure on Nico to try and honestly, for the first time, I think, honestly, this whole season, aka I don't think it really happened against Chattanooga, but you guys tell me no otherwise, but put a little bit of pressure on Nico, that even with the guy in his face, can he still make those passes, in stride? That's going to be the biggest thing as well. So, I mean, Landon, would you agree with me that I think that this is probably where the game is going to be won or lost for both teams, is right there in the trenches?
Yeah, 100%. And that's just, ACC is a little different, but in the SEC, every year, that's why Georgia has been the top program in the country for 3 or 4 years now, because they dominate up front on both sides of the ball. And Tennessee's, Dave Doran is right. Like, that defensive line, I don't know how they're able to keep all those guys on campus to just hey, just trust us, you'll get some playing time. But the fact that Jordan Ross was a 5-star edge player and he's probably your 4th edge rusher right now is insane. He blocked a punt and ran it in for a touchdown against Chattanooga. That guy sees the field probably everywhere else he goes, besides maybe Georgia or Alabama, places like that. But Tennessee is absolutely loaded along the defensive front. And they kept guys, for their 5th year, and like Cooper Mays and Javonte Spraggins up front. And they spent some money in the transfer portal with John Campbell and Lance Hurd to make sure that those tackles are set up nicely and can protect a redshirt freshman quarterback. So they've kind of done it the right way and recruited some guys and made things happen. But it's kind of been nice to see Tennessee just kind of build in the trenches and kind of do that same mold that helps you win so many games in the SEC.
Hey, Landon, if you had to give me a position on both sides of the ball, actually, you know what? You give me a weakness on the offense, and then Caleb, you give me a weakness on the defense. Like, what group would you go with? Landon, if you want to take it first, go for it.
I'll go safeties. You have a walk-on back there. You also have a Andre Turrentine, who hasn't played a ton of football since he's been on campus. So I think that's kind of your least experienced and probably least talented, to be honest. So I feel like in this game with Justin Jolie, who we saw last year when he played for UConn, can really light it up. I think that's going to be a matchup issue for Tennessee that they need to take care of, and linebackers in that star position are going to have to do a good job on him. And safety just got to come to play. I just have a question. I've had a question mark on that group since, probably at the end of last season. I just didn't know what it was going to look like. And they do have some more bodies back there, but those 2 starters just are inexperienced. And so that's kind of the question mark I have back there.
And then for you, Caleb, on the offense?
Yeah, and I think Landon, I thought I heard from me to take defense, and Landon just took the easiest group in the whole team. So I've got to think about this one. I'll give you 2, because one's position and one's kind of strategy. Really, the only weakness I see that would happen right now is that offensive line depth. Once you get past that starting five, it gets a little bit more dicey, some question marks. You have a guy that can be a utility player, that can kind of play all five spots. But if you see a second guy go down or a second guy miss a drive, then you start kind of wondering what you have there. But as a group, no concerns. It's just depth. Once you get behind that first five, everywhere else, I think depth's fairly strong, especially too deep. Strategy wise, and I just talked about this with Landon a little while ago. Tennessee's got to avoid the back-to-back 3-and-out 60-second drives, where now you're hoping that you're not in a field position battle and your defense is, has just enough time to sit on the bench and take a drink of water. I want to see Josh Heupel manage those situations better. They're out of character for him. You don't, ideally, if you have a 30-second drive, it's because you scored. But we see it happen from time to time where it's three quick plays. They weren't able to gain 10 yards and it's a punt away. So can you adjust that? Hey, we just went 3-and-out there. We're not going to go. If we go 3-and-out, it's not going to be where we're rushing the play clock and we're not letting their defense interchange. It's going to be in a way that's beneficial for us too. So obviously you never want to go 3-and-out, but that's just the game of football. So can you manage those and not let NC State win the field position battles if and when that comes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of thinking about this game, I mean, first of all, will this be y'all's first time to Bank of America to Charlotte?
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. We were there for the Jeremy Pruitt's debut as the Tennessee head coach. Yeah, that was tough.
Good times.
Yeah, we had the first place. We threw a backwards pass. So that's kind of how we should have known from the first play how that tenure was going to go. So
we did find the Roxbury, which I know is now closed. But we had a good time at the Roxbury that night.
Yeah,
gotcha. And so more of a fun question here real quick before we do final predictions and final thoughts before we wrap this up, but would y'all have been happy if Dave Doeren had accepted the Tennessee job back in 2017?
I don't know if happy is the right word.
Yeah,
I don't. I think Dave Doeren's a good football coach. I wasn't happy when Josh Heupel got hired, honestly. So I probably wouldn't have been upset, but it probably would have been one of those, are we going to do this again? Are we just going to kind of be in purgatory he's definitely a better football coach, but then you get into all those fit things and is this the right fit? But I don't think he would have been as detrimental to the program as Jeremy Pruitt or Butch Jones or Derek Dooley. But I also, similar to Josh Heupel, I would have been like, no way this guy wins us an SEC championship game.
True.
Do you think that with Heupel?
I did when he was hired. I think it's especially the way he's recruited these last two classes. I think it's possible now. I think it's more so the foes on the other side that he's got to overcome at this point. I think it's a non-zero chance that he wins. I don't know how high it is, but yeah, I think it's available.
Sure.
Yeah. Megan, you have a final question here to wrap this thing up, man?
Well, yeah, I'm just, I guess, generally speaking, you guys, to me, in my opinion, the way I've just kind of described Tennessee to some folks, it feels like Tennessee's one of the cool kids in the room right now, to be honest with you. I think as a team, I think they have a vibe about them where they've kind of been an underdog and they're kind of starting to show some stuff that people really like to see. So I guess my question is, do you guys think Tennessee is a CFP team this year?
All right, Wolfpack Nation, we're interrupting this preview here real quick to make some delicious chicken wings with some Oconee Gold original barbecue sauce. Let's do it. All right, so to start this off, you go ahead and get you a large mixing bowl. You go ahead and add in all of your chicken wings and add in your olive oil as well. Spread it nice and evenly. And then you grab your Oconee dry rub dust to get that amazing paprika flavor and that pre-seasoning, and go ahead and spread it nice and evenly over all of your wings. And now it's time to get grilling, y'all. You set that grill at 425 degrees and place all those wings on that grill nice and close. Close the lid and let it cook for 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes, go ahead and turn the wings a third of the way around. Close it, cook for another 5 minutes. After another 5 minutes, you go ahead and turn the wings another third of the way around. Close the lid, cook for the last 5 minutes. After that last 5 minutes, now it's time for that Oconee Gold original barbecue sauce. So now you let it cook for another 3 minutes. And now after all that, they are finally done and looking juicy, delicious, and with an amazing color on it. Now it's time to take them off the grill and enjoy some phenomenal wings made with only a Coney seasoning and barbecue sauce. And after all that, it's time to celebrate with a drink, but not Tennessee whiskey, please. And Landon, do you want to answer this first?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is your best chance. Since Josh Heupel's been here for sure, I think you have depth at positions that you haven't had. You have the quarterback play. We hope that we've seen through one game so far. You have the guys in the trenches. You got to stay healthy, and we kind of talked about that earlier about to be in the college football playoff, to contend for a national championship, you have to have some luck. Whether that's staying healthy and not having injuries, but the ball has to go your way sometimes. I definitely think they're right there on the line. I feel like I don't think I'm out of left field saying that, but I think they got some dudes. They definitely have the offense. I think the defense should be coming along. It helps that defensive line is so good, and you have some veterans at linebacker. You hope to have pretty good sophomores right there at corner. Safety is a question mark, as I mentioned. But, I think you have the dudes to do it. But, it's kind of like, can you take care of business? Can you avoid the bad loss that you've had the last 2 years? Can you avoid going to South Carolina and laying an egg, or going to Florida last year and laying an egg? Can they avoid that bad loss, whether that's to NC State or Oklahoma? Just play a good football game. Just don't come and fall flat on your face like you have the past 2 years and some games you should have won.
So hold on. So you just said something that got my attention there, Landon. NC State's a bad loss for you guys?
I don't know. I'm not saying that. But I think it's a game Vegas is selling like Tennessee should win this game.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
Now, if you lose like a last-second game, I feel like it's different. But the games Tennessee has lost, they've been bad losses.
Yeah. I think from a fan perspective, I think this game means more to NC State fans than it does Tennessee fans. Just because we play in the ACC, you guys have plenty of opportunities in the SEC. So I could see kind of I won't say cavalier attitude, but it just feels different for us than it does for you guys.
Well, and that may be the case for, I'd say, the majority of fans. But when you look at this game from a December perspective, if you want to play in the college football playoff, especially for Tennessee, I see NC State where they could lose this game, but still scrap their way to an automatic bid.
Sure.
I don't think Tennessee's in an auto bid territory. If you want to be an at-large bid, you almost certainly have to go 10-2. 9-3 is possible, but it requires so many other people to screw up before you. Mm-hmm. If you want to play in the college football playoff, you have to win this football game. This game is critical, and it's happening the first weekend in September. And I don't see an easy road to the playoffs if you lose this game. Sure, they can go and beat Oklahoma on the road. They can beat Alabama at home, and then maybe just a loss to Georgia. And it looks easy, but if you lose this one, it doesn't get any easier. I don't have faith in Arkansas looking good, but you do have to go to Arkansas, and they just scored on every drive the other night. So you have that one as well. Yeah, if your college football playoff hopes start Saturday, this one has to be important, and I certainly see that for most college football fans, because it's more of the cocky attitude of Tennessee. We haven't been any farther than NC State in football the last 20 years, but you just see the SEC, ACC, the historical perspective, and go, oh, well, this should be a win, but it's I'm not willing to put it in that category, and you have to have it. I think it's that simple. You have to have this win, especially when you look at the games you should win, going back into what Vegas says.
Yep. Right. So it's at this point, guys. So, go ahead, Landon.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys, sorry to kind of flip the script a little bit, but y'all watching the first week, like in the ACC, obviously you have Florida State just looking like complete.
What are you talking about? They're a top 10 team.
They were for 2 weeks.
Does that kind of like, I know y'all didn't play your best game against Western Carolina, but does it kind of be like, hey guys, like this? I mean, you look at Clemson, they're not good. I mean, do you kind of look at it as kind of wide open in the ACC?
Yeah.
Well, and here before making you answer, if you want to hear more about our thoughts about this, check out our live show from Monday night. Make sure to check that out where we talk about this more. But go ahead, Macon, give us your
to
2-second
me,
thought.
I think it's wide open. I mean, but I also think about like for Clemson, they didn't score a touchdown, right? But it was against Georgia. So, and I get that, but I mean, they looked notably different than Georgia. So, Florida State's 0-2 in the ACC.
Vandy beating Tech.
Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech. So there were 6 ACC teams that are considered the favorites, and 3 of them have lost. And only one of them had in my opinion, a legitimate opponent. In Clemson playing Georgia. So State beat Western Carolina, which they were, to me, like they were tied in the fourth quarter. And they did win by 3 scores, but they were tied. They were
down.
Quarter.
Yeah, they were down going into it.
21-17.
Excuse me. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Louisville, was up 62-0 for Austin Peay.
Austin Peay, yeah.
And,
but yet they jumped all the way up, and now they're a 24% likelihood to win the ACC. Like what? But anyway,
yeah.
sorry.
And then Miami looked the best out of all of them. So
yeah,
but it's a bad Florida team.
Right. I mean, Florida may win 4 games this year, if that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the betting odds for the ACC they're not that far off from each other in those top 6 teams. I think some people threw like SMU in there because they have a super easy schedule, but like.
They barely beat Nevada.
It could be. And I think State, we've argued, and we've talked about this before, like a preseason episode we did, where State has one of the easiest schedules, relatively speaking, ACC. They don't get to play those top teams except Clemson. And Clemson didn't look that great. So, it could be. I just think for us as State fans, it's just get the job done, right? And so we've had this discussion of what's a bigger game, Tennessee or Clemson, and a lot of State fans debate it. Technically, if you're a State fan, it should be Clemson, right? And I don't mean that rude because it's an in-conference game, but from a national perspective,
the point Caleb made.
Yeah. From a national perspective, if you beat Tennessee, it's a national perspective thing of NC State for a little bit there. So,
Greg,
we have to carry the water Greg, this weekend for the ACC.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I think, and again, there's no doubt Macon, myself, and Greg want to dive huge into this. And we're about to here on our live show. So make sure to check that out, y'all. But, for the sake of time, we do need to jump into game predictions, y'all, score predictions. Excited about it. So with that being said, I won't be rude. I won't put Caleb or Landon on the spot first, but I know Greg, I know you've been thinking about this for a long time, man.
Yeah, I haven't slept since Thursday.
Exactly. So give me a score prediction here, man.
I think it's going to be high scoring. I like State. I mean, we're a State podcast. We're going to pick State, but I think it's going to be.
I expect nothing less.
Right. I think it's going to be one of those 38-31 type games. I feel, maybe something fluky might happen. I don't know. I just don't know. It's to the point. I don't know what to expect after last Thursday's performance. Are we going to get a drastic jump in this team? Because we did put up 500 yards of offense. So the skill level is there. It's, can you minimize the mistakes, and can you minimize the mistakes against a top tier SEC team?
Exactly. Exactly right. Landon, what you got here, my man?
I haven't put much thought into it, but 42-24 sounds cool. So
and we're done.
Yeah, I mean,
it could happen.
I don't really know. I guess I'm kind of putting stock into week 1, and I shouldn't, but that's kind of what it
42-24
like.
State is what he meant to say.
He didn't preface.
Yeah, I didn't say that. So you can edit it in that I said NC State. That's fine.
We'll just go State.
Yeah. Macon, what you got, bud?
If I'm being honest, on the way I'm the other side. I think I would pick State to win, but I just didn't know what I saw against us there. I think Greg made a great point that I realized State did put up 500 yards, and so they could have put up more, honestly. And that's where I come back to for my weaknesses for State. I thought the defense had some moments there that for me weren't great, but felt like death by 1,000 cuts at times. And then the offensive line, I thought had some room to improve, I thought personally.
Yeah.
So I do see Tennessee winning this game. That's just my opinion. I think, though, I say that. Prediction, I'm going to say 38-24, 38-21, somewhere in there, Tennessee. But I think, though, I don't think it is out of maybe 38-24, 38-27, somewhere there. Let me go back that way, because you're right. That's a
You're talking yourself into by Friday.
No, but I know. But I will say, I think it's very NC State to have looked bad against Western Carolina, in my opinion, and then somehow beat Tennessee. That's the way State fans. It's like okay.
Well, else is new.
So
yeah,
it could be a get right game for State. Like, they didn't look good, so maybe they just adjust. Again, I go back to the whole Grayson McCall thing and all that. So I think if State's going to win, it's going to be something like a 6-7 score favorite for State. So I'm like a 34.
Take a stand,
27.
Take a stand.
So I'm going to go Tennessee wins the game, but I'm just saying if it happens, I think it's a little bit slighter margin of difference between NC State winning the game. So I'm going to go Tennessee winning.
Caleb, what you got?
Yeah, I'm with Greg. It's high scoring, and I think it was now 3 years ago, Grayson McCall made me an awful lot of money on those Coastal Carolina overs. So shout out to him for that. And I think we stay the course here. I've got it 38-28 Tennessee. And I think it's a very competitive game. Fourth quarter, I think I see Tennessee talking about what I did earlier, trying to control the football a little bit more. And not sure how those points come in, if any, or if a lot in the fourth quarter. But I think Tennessee gets the edge in this one, but I certainly think NC State is very competitive for the majority of the game.
Yeah, for me, guys, I mean, it's really simple that, I always say Vegas knows everything. And I think that after week one, that when you saw a line of Tennessee -5 or 6, it was just screaming to take Tennessee. But now that it's moved to Tennessee favored by 8, I'm sitting here saying, okay, I think that basically what that's telling me is that, because it's still screaming a little bit for you to take Tennessee, but if Vegas was thinking that State was going to win, then why would they move it even more towards Tennessee? So I'm basically taking that as, they really are predicting probably right at that line of being a 1-score game. So, but I'm thinking that, again, a little bit of bounce back game. So I'm going to go Tennessee 31, NC State 28. That's sticking a little bit to my preseason prediction, and I'm going to stick to it, but I'm going to say that's going to be a heck of a game. But I'm all for getting shocked for sure and seeing a NC State team that's more than capable of pulling off this win, but it's going to be a heck of a game. So,
all right, when we win, I'm going to need this rewound.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
I can't wait for it to be 10-7 in this game. And,
2-9.
So, Wolfpack Nation, if you want to go check out these guys on Twitter at @more_issues, go check them out, guys. Go check out their content for sure. Great stuff for sure. There's no doubt we want to have them on. Go ahead, Caleb.
I want to ask a question, and I'm a very, very much against these games, these preseason bowl games, or whatever you want to call them, these neutral site
showcases.
Games. Yeah, sure. Dumb. College football is great because of the venues it is held in. It's one of the many reasons. And you guys are 30 minutes away from Carter Finley? Do you all hate this as much as I do?
I'm driving 6 hours for this game.
It's not new, Greg. I don't. For us, it's still local to State fans, so it's not in the world. I don't care. I really personally, I
sign
don't
a
care.
home and home.
Yeah, wouldn't you? That's what I would prefer.
For me, I'd rather go to Carter Finley.
Yeah.
And when we played Nebraska, I don't know why I'm blank. Which we are going. It's not a neutral site game. I want to go.
Yeah.
To these great venues.
Agree with you.
But I just don't need to go to Bank of America. Sorry,
it's a cookie cutter crap hole. I'll create my
it'll be fun, but it can be a lot more fun other ways. So I was just curious y'all's thoughts on neutral site games.
Football play on Sundays. We don't want any of that bad juju going on.
He's a Carolina fan. He can say that. I think.
Me too.
Yeah,
but it's turf. There's nothing good about it. I'd rather, I want to go to Neyland. That's a place where, as a college football fan, you want to go. People probably don't necessarily want to come to Carter Finley, but it's still a great, fun environment.
I would much rather be there than Bank of America. I promise you.
Agreed.
Promise you.
So, So appreciate you again, Caleb, Landon. Appreciate y'all's time, man. Best of luck this weekend, y'all. But obviously,
no, the rest of the season except Saturday.
You guys good luck the rest of the season.
I hope you guys go 11-1 the rest of the way.
That's right. That's fine.
And you finish second in the country in the national championship game, and you lose twice to us. So
doesn't sound ideal, but if we see you again in December, we'll all be. I'll be happy. So.
Absolutely, guys.
Looking forward to it. And for us, y'all, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. If you're excited about the NC State Tennessee game, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you go check out our amazing sponsors, Oconee Gold, barbecue sauce and rub, y'all. Make sure you use that code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order, y'all. All you have to do is go to the link in the description below and use that code. And again, y'all, make sure to give us a follow as well at Tuffy Talk now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. We'll see y'all on Saturday, and go Pack, y'all.
Hey, we're cooler. We got a hand signal.